And then, okay, perfect. We are live on everything except for Instagram. And let's just cue Instagram. Um, Perfect. All right, guys. Now, welcome to another episode of Office Hours. This week, I have a very special guest that I'm excited to have on this platform for several reasons. Not only because I think he's brilliant as a creative, but just for the work that he does with artists across the board. Um, Pierre has worked with a lot of A-list celebrities to upcoming artists as well, from Wale to Alex Vaughn to Ari Lennox, as well as doing exhibitions during Art Basel, and just really the true definition of an artist in a world where social media can like manipulate what that word means. Pierre does it at its core. So Pierre, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate the intro, man. I definitely feel that. I try to live the title. You know what I'm saying? Not just be the title.
No, for sure. I think you do a really great job of it. I would like to say I got introduced to you earlier this year as you were working the Wale tour,
Hmm.
and created the world around, Wale's tour, the set design, the feel, the vibe, the experience. So just talk to me honestly about what it's like to even get into or what is your creative process in getting into the workspace and working with an artist and building their world.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, we definitely we had a good time. The New York show. It was epic. You had a pretty epic DJ set. I don't know if you recorded that set, but if you didn't, shame on you. If you did, you need to put the mix out. But, but yeah, so honestly, when it comes to my work within music and with artists, like, I tell all my artists I'm just here to amplify what they do, what their vision is. So really, I think it all is based in trust. Like it starts off with a trust of them understanding like what my role is and what I plan to do. Artists rightfully so are hesitant at first. Almost every artist is hesitant at first just because there's, so much that goes around, so many people that come around. To your point, there's so many, Instagram bio warriors that it takes time to build that trust. But once that trust is built, from there, I'm just always paying attention to everything that they say. If we're in the studio, if we're having a conversation, if they're talking to someone else, I'm listening to everything because I'm looking for those context clues, because those context clues become the bricks to kind of the house that I build for them. Um, so it's really just about like figuring out what the context is and applying that context. And then once you kind of come up with that central theme, then just kind of building the verticals on what that central theme is. And with Wale, we like literally wanted to create a world. So all his marketing was kind of him in this otherworldly fashion. His moniker is Every Blue Moon, so it kind of fit really, really well with this. It wasn't as like hard as like sci-fi, but definitely we wanted it to feel otherworldly. So that was the goal.
Okay. Now, how important is it to actually have a creative director on your team as an artist? I think like you is it like necessary for a smaller artist to have a creative director? Like how soon do you think it's needed?
You asking the wrong. I'm so biased. Yes. Labels, hire creative directors. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but why?
Nah, but yeah, like I think it's super important. I think if you're a new artist, it's really just going to be about finding someone who understands your vision. You know what I'm saying? It can fill in the gap where your vision stops, right? So it's like a lot of my job is logistical. A lot of my job is onboarding different creatives and managing a creative team against the deadline. All the things that the artist shouldn't be doing, right? So it's like there's always a nice time of conceptualizing, but most of the time is spent actually producing and getting this person to design this and getting talking to the stage people about this and figuring out when the merch is gonna this and physicals for albums and just kind of managing deadlines. So I do think it's super important, man. I think it's important to have a creative collaborator. I think every artist should look at themselves as an institute of sorts. They should look at themselves as a complete business. And businesses have these roles for a reason, like the artist is the head of the business, and then you need someone who's going to be over your marketing and your creative, and you have your manager that can act as the logistical person, and you have your business manager who's going to act as your CFO. So I think it's kind of important to look at yourself as that. And I think a lot of the artists that do so end up kind of really building out their world even grander because they have those consistent collaborators to rely on.
Okay. Days, who is on our live stream from YouTube, says facts. Doing everything is for the birds.
Yeah, days I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, it's, when I'm working with management and different things like that, there's like a really, really like hard stop of what my role entails. And when it comes to money and logistics and things like that, whether I'm talking to a brand, on behalf of the artist, once we start talking about money, I'm like, I'll go talk to the manager. That's not me, you
Right,
know.
right. Now, how is it managing, like, or not managing, but I guess juggling working with an artist and then working with an artist team? Because as a creative director, you're kind of like a little bit of both. Like, your
Mhm.
business just as much as you are creative, and that kind of requires two different hats.
Yeah.
How do you juggle that?
Um, I don't really look at it that way.
Okay.
I think a lot of the ways, and I understand left brain, right brain, I do understand all that, but I think you could hack. I think you could hack your brain and your perspective in a way that you look at things, and I think it's just basically based on practice. I haven't had the privilege of like I don't have the privilege of a day where like, oh, today I'm just doing creative stuff and then tomorrow I'm doing logistical stuff. Because if the folks that are working on the stage and call me today, I can't not answer the phone until tomorrow because I'm in my creative space, right? So I've gotten used to flexing the muscles in a sense where whatever I need to do at that moment, I'll do at that moment. Like if I'm in the middle of creating something and someone calls me about some business stuff, I'll get on the phone and we'll talk about it. Then I'll go right back to creating. And I just think it's really an energy that you come about. You there's an energy that I think you could develop as you're in the work, and as you're approaching the work. And my energy is very much like I'm not going to let anything stop me from creating the impact that I want to create. And I take the work that I do with um the artists that I work with very seriously. And I believe that they have the ability to really penetrate and impact culture. And I can't allow anything to like make me drop the ball on what my responsibilities within that team is. So
Yeah. Now, where does someone like you even find inspiration to create? Like, as a creative director, what drove you to this?
um so from an inspiration standpoint, if we're talking currently, everything inspires me. Like I could be in a grocery store and see a color combination in the freezer aisle that I'll jot down. Um, one of the things that like that's important to me is that like my studio is right here, right? So it's like it doesn't matter where I'm at, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Oftentimes people can tell that I'm zoning out, but it's just because I'm up here, so yeah, so really I try to get inspiration anywhere that I can, no matter, it could be very applicable, like, going to an art museum or actively searching for inspiration, or it could just be, like I said, doing mundane things, normal day life things. But again, just kind of similar to like the last question is I really strive to break down all those barriers and all those kind of preconceived notions on how you should do things because they just don't fit for me, and I think like we don't give humanity, we don't give enough benefit to the fact that we're all nuanced, and literally even if you have a twin, no single person is the same. So I like to spend a lot of time with myself understanding how to how I what I need to do to be in a space to do what I need to do for the people that I work with or even my own personal projects. Um and I don't have the privilege of setting up this and doing that. Like I have to always be in the space to be able to create, because again, artists can call me right now, like, and they may be in a creative space, and I got to be able to meet them right in that creative space, and we got to be able to chop it up and talk about it. So
It looks like Yo Mistro agrees with you. He says mindset is everything. And then he also followed up with another question: what habits do you practice to maintain organization, especially when wearing multiple hats?
So I'm still trying to get the best of organization. Like there's obviously the practical things. Like there's a bunch of different softwares. I use Milanote quite a bit to get my thoughts out and to structure things. I make a lot of decks, a lot of decks. I probably make like 5 decks a week. Anybody that works with me knows. Like I'm quick to be like, okay, I'll send you a deck. Just because it's all there and it all makes sense. Um, but yeah, organization is definitely, super important. But again, I always got to keep it a buck, and you'd be surprised. The music industry is not that organized. Like it's not as organized as you think. So um, you know, just try to use all the tools that I can, and all those tools are available with a quick Google search. So
That is hilarious. I agree. Someone says, or this is just Misfit District says, P moves like water. You know what? I actually really like that compliment because it's important to be fluid.
yeah,
Um, like you said, if the artist is having a creative blast, you got to be there to
yeah.
bounce like back off of them.
Yeah, Bruce Lee. It's you got to be fluid, especially in this time, because everything is going to change. Everything will continue to change. Like I've been a full-time freelance creator for 13 years. I've seen it just in the past, like 2, 3 years since the pandemic. I've seen it change so much, like especially in music. Like it's just changing and changing. I mean, we saw all the stuff that happened with labels last year and the big restructuring of things, and obviously the seismic shift of the industry with what K Dot did last year. So you have to be fluid. You got to be able to get into different places, and that doesn't come without resistance. Nyla can we have a lot of conversations about the resistance that even I have, but at the end of the day, like I'm not trying to be grandpa yet. So I have to be fluid, and I have to be, willing to apply my perspective to whatever kind of makes sense, and not necessarily what's popping, but it's more just about the channels, the distribution channels that we all have these days, and like where the people are. Like you gotta meet the people where they're at.
Yes. Speaking of meeting people where they're at, I did recently see that you announced that you started the Radical New Wave, redefining creativity, marketing, and advertising. Talk to me just more about that.
Yeah, so the Radical New Wave is this platform that I've been ideating the last few months. Really, I think we're so much in a place of fast content that I just found myself really wanting something that had some substance to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just kind of have all these thoughts that, obviously with the homies we'll talk about, but I thought that it'd be beneficial to kind of share those ideas in a public platform. So the Radical New Wave is a platform to where you can kind of get into my mind a bit. It's a newsletter hosted through Substack, so it also kind of has that desktop and mobile platform that you can go and look at it like a blog. But the idea is to kind of consolidate a bunch of ideas that I have, industry kind of commentary. I'm really, really into like the psychology of creating and why we create. It's kind of like a thing that I like to just dive into on my free time, very, very limited free time. But yeah, so that's really the idea, is to present these bold ideas, um, and to kind of present some type of potent commentary that I hope can create additional commentary and build a community. Like that's the biggest thing, is I know that there are quite a few people out there that have different experiences, and with a platform like this, I would love to share those experiences, and I got some things in the works. Right now I'm kind of the singular voice on there, but it won't be like that forever. So
Okay. I love that. What is the first radical, I guess, post or thought or event or just whatever? What is the first thing you're gonna give us with this?
so as of right now, there are a few articles on there. I've been writing over the last few weeks, and I just been throwing them up in preparation to launch. So really it's I've got an article on a dichotomy between short form content, which is really kind of inspired by a conversation I had with my homie JB3, illest DJ here in DC, Jerome Baker the third, look him up. But he kind of checked me. He checked me on like, we were having a conversation and he's like, yo, like you don't half the things that you do, you don't even put out there. Like you don't market yourself. He's like, you need to look at yourself as a client, because obviously for a living, I create these narratives for individuals, for brands and such. So, that article I think is really potent in approaching where the middle line of short form and quality and how like you don't I was struggling because in my mind I'm just like it's not thoughtful, but that's not the case. Like even if you only spend an hour creating the short form content, realistically you're not only spending an hour, your whole experience before then is in that content,
This
right?
is
Because
true.
you're able to make quick decisions. It's when Kobe or AI crossed somebody over, it wasn't just that instance. That was hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym that they put in, perfecting that move. So that's one of my favorites. Obviously, I have the kind of the first article that is telling you just kind of my approach when it comes to creativity. I have another one that is around how to use references if you are creative. So making sure that you don't just copy, because I very much believe in referential work. It's a kind of a pillar of the way that I approach things. But there's a way to reference and there's a way to go about, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to build these worlds, whether it be for you, a brand, an artist, whatever capacity in your creative career you're in. So
And within this world of the radical new wave, what are you looking to gain, or like what is the community that you're looking to like pull?
that's a great question. Um, I really just want people who are interested in digging a little deeper around things. And, you know, oftentimes the way that I view things is I will have a certain perspective, but then I'll step to the left and see that perspective and step to the right, you know what I'm saying? And look up and look down. And it's really for folks that approach things like that. It's like we really have a thirst for knowledge and we want to figure out, you know the existentialism around why we are here and why we're creating and what does it mean. An important part of my work is that, like, I oftentimes I think back to when I was a kid and I was watching the frontin' video by Pharrell on MTV Jams and how it resonated with me on such a deep level. And I didn't know why. I didn't know about PR and marketing and all, the back end of things that I know now. But I just knew this black dude up there that was completely different than most of the people that were showing up in our space at the time. Uh, I knew it resonated with me, right? So within my work, I know I have the ability to create something that resonates with a younger black kid. I have daughters, so like I have the ability to do that, and that kind of like motivates me in really attacking this thing and thinking about it differently. So I want to build a community where we're sharing ideas and where we're creating an ecosystem that we all can gain energy from, because quite frankly, I like social zaps my energy more than it adds to my energy. So I just wanted to create a little platform, even if it's 10, 15, 25 people and we're all, just kind of sharing ideas and looking to do things at a little bit of a deeper rate. Like that's enough for me.
Okay. And you said the Pharrell frontin' video is the inspiration. Was that the video with Lauren London?
First, you can't ask, was it the video with Lauren London? You need to know these things.
Because
It
I'm
it
pretty sure it
was.
was, and I feel like that was the inspiration. But
Yeah, yeah, no, it was. So that video, that there was a bunch of stuff, man. The stuff that Ye was doing early on. I was really lucky to kind of get into things early. My mom played Fly or Die nerd for me when I was like super young, like fifth, sixth grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always kind of been exposed to different types of music. My mom bought me an opera CD. I think it was my third grade Christmas present.
interesting.
So I've always kind of had this broader idea of like what music and musicality can be. Um, so again, it's really just about trying to figure out like how do we lock in amongst there's a bunch of stuff that's happening, right? It's like, music videos aren't what they used to be and all this other type of stuff. But with what we have on the table, how do we lock in and how do we like mirror that same impact? Because it's not about the video per se. It's about the impact that the video had on me personally. You know what I'm saying? And the music that was happening. So if it's a reel that has that same impact on a fifth grader that has a phone because fifth graders have phones these days. If there's a fifth grader that has a phone and sees something and it has that impact, that's what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to create that revolving door, and then maybe they are doing something similar to me, 30 years from now at an even higher level. So,
I hear
you know,
you. Blueprint.
yeah.
I get it. Days asks, what what do you think would be a thoughtful short form content for a new artist?
um Days, the homie Days. What would I say? I would say first, like you should be theming the shit. Sorry, I don't know if I cuss on it. You should be theming. You should be theming everything that you do. Like you, in my personal opinion, like you should be coming up with a concept for your projects, and that concept for the projects should really trickle down to everything that you do with that project. The reason being is because we're in a place where the attention span is so short. So the reality of it is like from a storytelling perspective, we remember potent stories. So if I can remember that last time I saw the video, you were doing XYZ, and then you release something else a week later, which in our time, a week is a long time. You know what I'm saying? People will be outraged about something last Monday, and this Monday completely forget about it, right? So, but if I can remember that, okay, like your project was ocean themed or whatever, like, and then you continue to tell that story, like that to me, I think is the bigger like key is I don't depending on how I'm interacting, at times I do get hired just to do one part of a campaign or just a one-off with an artist. But if I'm creative directing for an artist, then I really feel like it starts with the broader theme of what you're trying to accomplish, what's the narrative of what you're trying to do, and then everything trickles down. I don't like to just look at like, okay, well, just short form. Like the short form should be informed by the album. The short form should be informed by the music videos or the skits that you're doing or what you're doing on TikTok and all this other stuff. The other thing I would say about short form is create content that is specific to each platform because each platform has a different vibe to it. What you post on TikTok is not what you post on Instagram, right? So make sure to tailor your content to the platform that you're on. I hope that helps.
No, that was real. Another question from Yo Mistro was, what are key factors you look for when deciding to work with creatives? What are certain things that make you say no? That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. um just like anything else is puzzle pieces, right? So like I have a way of creating and a way of kind of going about the things that I do, and because the commercial work that I do, I look for creatives that have professionalism. If there's a deadline, like you're gonna hit the deadline, you know what I'm saying? Like I can call you at 10 a.m. to talk about an idea. You know what I'm saying? Like just different little things like that. I mean, obviously you gotta make good stuff. That's the first thing. But after that, to me, it's just about from a working relationship, do we fit and do we make sense? Um a huge no for me is when I see a creative who overstates their role in a particular project. I don't like that. So if I know that you worked on a project, but you did this aspect of it, and when I look online and you're saying you did way more than you did, that is a super pet peeve of mine, and I'll refuse to work with you because again, at the end of the day, we are in a place where a lot of us are more public facing, but traditionally, like as a creative director and the teams that I manage, like we're behind the scenes. Like again, we're here to amplify the artist's creative vision or the brand or whoever I'm working with at the time. And it's not necessarily about us. So some creatives I think fall too deeply into the vanity aspect of this. And they want to be popping really bad, so they'll lie.
Oh, P. Oh my God, what happened? Um. All right, 1 second. I think P is gonna hop back on. I wanted to say shout out to Ozzy P. I was gonna get to your question and Dina Drugs question next. Yes, he is back. Okay, we have a few more questions coming in. Uh, can you hear me, P?
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, just making sure. All right. The other questions were Dina Drug says, I want to know if developing artists still exist. I'm an artist myself and I have reached minor success but have found trouble finding A&Rs and getting signed.
Yeah. Um,
I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse, but
yeah, I mean, I feel like developing artists still exist, to be honest with you. Like I think that you'd have to find an indie label that is to work with a quote unquote developing artist. I do think that most, I mean, we see what happened with Jello, right? It's like one joint drops and then, all of a sudden it's whatever the terms of that deal was, which it's all good, get your money, bro. Like, but that's going to be the trend in the industry, right? It's like it is going to be quick turnaround because the music industry just isn't generating revenue at the rate that it used to generate revenue. You got to understand, it's like when those records were going platinum, everybody was getting bust down on those records, the label, the artist, you know what I'm saying? Like now that's not the case. We all pay a certain amount for whatever streaming that we like to do, and like that's it, right? So but I'm all about independence, man. I'm all about empowering yourself. So, like if you got a gift that you want to give the world, like don't wait on nobody to help you facilitate that gift and put it out. Even if it's not all the way there, because perfection doesn't exist. Like so, put it out. Like do whatever you need to do so that your vision is is out in the public. Because again, it's if we look at it from eh, this is what I always say. It's like I'm just putting a brick down. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting a brick down in this whole, world of art and creativity and black culture and whatever you want to call it, right? I'm not going to be remembered, which is fine. But hopefully my brick, someone else can come and put a brick on top of that and just go, and we kind of continue to push this thing forward. So yeah, I would say like, don't wait on nobody. Um, just put the work in.
yeah, that was great advice. I agree too, especially heavy on the independent. We're really big on that here at Two Loss. We do nothing but help independent artists. Our whole platform is designed to make it easier for independent artists. So when you said that, that was music to my ears because
Hmm.
that is just where it's going. Major labels are turning into distribution companies, but neither here nor there. You have a lot of questions, so I'm gonna try to get to these.
Okay.
Ozzy P says, "What if an artist just had music? They don't really have a style or other niches, personality challenge, but with good music. What would you do, and how would you develop them?"
um since we have a lot of questions, I'll answer this quickly. It's trust, right? So it's like as long as is the if the individual trust, if you find someone who is a creative collaborator, or personally if I'm speaking from my perspective,
Mhm.
if the artist trusts me enough to build that around them, I can. Like it really is just about like, what an artist wants. If an artist has a strong route that they want to go, I'm in a service position. So like I will build that out. I will, give it the narrative and just kind of make it all make sense from a logistic standpoint. If an artist is like, look, I just have the music and that's all I want, everything else I'll listen to you on, then, that's that's something that can be developed as well.
Do you prefer that?
Mm, no, I mean it. I don't have a preference, to be honest with you. Like I do. I love feedback and I love collaborating. I do. Like I love to understand where you were when you was creating the music and things like that, and then link it up. Even if it's like if it's sadder music, then I might put you in tones of blue. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it. I love to like really dig in and get the context clues. So I don't say I wouldn't say I have a preference. I love an artist that knows where they want to go, and I also understand the artists that may not know where they want to go because they are really specializing in every bar, every aspect, every bridge, every sound of the music. So
Understood. Okay. Um, Unraveling Soul King said he's giving too much game. I love that.
love, fire.
Um, Now, Mary Castle says, "What's your take on building a world and developing a creative strategy?
It's
What's
my
your
life. Yeah.
not my
Yes. Do it. That's my take.
okay. Um, okay. Day says, "Are you taking new clients?"
Hit me up, Days. We could talk. Yeah, I didn't realize that last question. Maybe I should give a little bit more context.
Okay, yeah.
My take on it is it's absolutely necessary. My take is that, like, again, pulling from the thematics of the music comes first, right? What are you talking about in the music? Like, how are you trying to represent yourself holistically? Like, what are the key pillars? What is the messaging that we want to have here, and then develop the creative strategy around that. My strategies are really, really in depth. So I do like to do everything from the design, so type, colors, textures, to how we show up on photos, photography guidelines, video guidelines, socials. What are we doing on socials? So I really, styling, whatever I can do, whatever context and how nuanced I can get, I'll get on that. So hopefully, Mary, that answers your question.
Lovely. That was good. Oh, okay. Someone said this is for me. But also, Nyla, shout out to Battle of the Beats. Such a cool concept. Shout out to you for always being so innovative, creative event building. Also, I just watched Juice again recently. So, Battle. You know
There we
what?
go.
Juice is actually a great thing to reference for the aesthetic that I'm going to build out for the promo of Battle of the Beats Ozzy. But thank you for that. And yeah, I'm excited. I wanted to just highlight people that aren't just artists because there's a lot of important people that go into the art, like Pierre. Like I'm super excited to have him on because what he does is so important. Like you see the final result, you see the packaged up video, but you don't ever necessarily get to see the behind the scenes, the creative process behind it. So like I think producers should be highlighted. So I'm super excited about that event. Um, yeah. So if you guys know producers, have them submit. They got to be good though. They said how to
Ma-
hit you up.
I'm on Instagram. Pierre, so Pierres dot online. Pierre's online. You can hit me there. That's probably the easiest way, and then you can get everything through those links in my bio.
Lovely. Okay. My last question for you, P, before I let you go, is what is on the horizon for you in 2025? Is there like any dream collabs you want to work with? Like you said, you're created by everything in life, but I feel like we're having such an interesting year. It's like, what is it that you want to give this year?
Definitely looking forward to building out this platform more. I really, really am excited to like get all the homies involved. Like yourself, we haven't talked about it yet, but like I'm really kind of excited for that because I feel like I mean, I can't really see who's in here, who's watching all that other stuff, but by the questions, I feel like people want to know, you know what I'm saying? Like people want to know, like, there's this idea that these artists don't care. These like people care, right? So it's like I really want to build that platform out. There's quite a bit that I'm gonna continue to expand it to. So I'm excited about that. For on the commercial side of things, like I got a lot of like new stuff coming up quarter one, quarter two with the artists that I'm working with that I think everyone will enjoy. I'm not gonna speak too much to that. Um, got some stuff with Nike coming up that's gonna be fire. So we're I'm
Again, this is what your second, third Nike collaboration. It's an honor to know you. I gotta say, like,
stop,
it's
stop.
an honor to know you.
Stop, man. Again, I'm here to amplify the folks around me, and I'm here to put this mind to different things. So yeah, I just want to I think for me, being someone who's multidisciplinary and I work in so many different places, I just want to touch and attack as many things that I can. You know what I'm saying? And again, just keep putting things out for people to get inspired by. And just try to make this like living experience a little bit better. It's a little rough these days. Like it's a little tough for everybody. So, I
I
think
know I
that's
said
what we
that
all
was my
should be
last
doing.
question, but actually, I have one more question. Um, because you work with so many people and so many large brands, but you said this earlier. You mentioned it earlier that you're not necessarily forward facing. Is that on purpose? Do you feel like it helps with the art? Do you feel like it hurts? Like, do you feel like it hurts the art to have more people? Because even like, back in the day, nobody really knew who managers were. Now
Yeah,
you know who Scooter Braun is. Like
right.
but it's not necessarily normal.
Yeah.
But what is your take on that?
My take is pretty simple. This is a newer take. Um, Again, we're always allowed to change our minds, but
Yes.
I actually think the I'm more introverted, a little bit more chill. Again, like I tend to live in my head, so I'm usually kind of thinking in a way that social media doesn't necessarily allow, right? I'm thinking in a nuance and I'm thinking a little bit more long form than kind of the short form world we live in. But with all that being said, I think that it hurts if you're a creative and you're not online promoting yourself in a way with integrity, for sure. And integrity is all based in your line, whatever your line of integrity is, right? I have my personal line is so I can sleep at night, and that's what it is. So yeah, no, I think we all gotta promote ourselves. We gotta promote ourselves. We gotta promote what we do, why we do it, what our approach to the work is. Um, and one of the things I always tell the folks that I work with is like, what are your unique characteristics that define you? And whatever those are, like we got to put those out there like repeatedly over and over and over and over again. Another a big key is if you like I like to watch when artists go on their media runs, and they'll do 4 or 5 different interviews. They're all saying the same thing because those are the messaging pillars at that time that they need to discuss, right? So so yeah, now we got to put ourselves out there, and I'm here. I'm doing an interview. I'm putting myself out there.
Yes, no, Pierre, you are a gem to our culture,
Oh
and to
man,
just creatives in general. So I'm
I
super honored that I
appreciate
got to
that.
highlight you today, and I'm super, super excited about everything you're gonna cover with the radical new wave. I'll be tuned in, and
I appreciate
yeah,
it.
thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Two Lost too, man. Appreciate everybody there. Appreciate y'all having me. Two Lost, we gotta figure out some work to do outside of this. What we doing?
Man, we
You
have a
know?
bunch of independent artists who would love to work with you, P. So we are going to
Absolutely.
figure that out.
Figure it out. Yeah,
All right.
love.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate everybody in the comments. We'll be back again next Monday for another episode of Office Hours. Peace.
Peace.